De Haar Castle, formerly Het Huis De Haar, is a monumental castle in the Utrecht village of Haar Utrecht. It is the largest castle in the Netherlands. It was built in the neo-Gothic style on the ruins of the old castle, starting in 1892. De Haar Castle comprises a large estate containing the main building, gardens, and other buildings, such as a chapel. The adjacent village has a strong connection to the castle, and the entire complex is a protected village view. The exact appearance of the first buildings is uncertain. It was likely a fortified residential tower on a moated plot, built in the 12th century. De Haar Castle was drawn by R. Roman between 1646 and 1647. The oldest mention, in a deed, dates from 1391. At that time, Gijsbrecht Boekel van der Haar received the house as a fief from Hendrik II van Vianen. At that time, the castle consisted of nothing more than a fortified residential tower. This tower was built on a ridge along a cul-de-sac of the Rhine River. The name derives from the Proto-Germanic haru, meaning sandy ridge. Over the years, the castle expanded. Through the marriage of Josina van der Harteduk van Zylen van Harmelen, the castle came into the possession of the Van Zylen family in 1449. After repeated attacks and destruction, including in 1482 during the Hook and Cod Wars by the pro-Burgundian Cods, the castle was repeatedly restored and expanded, until the last resident died. The castle was severely damaged by the French invaders in 1672. Damage was also caused in 1674 by storms that also damaged the Domchurch in Utrecht.
Zo schiet het lekker op. Daar beginnen we anders. Komen we er niet meer uit, help! Help! Oh! Zeg het nou! Ik heb geen idee, is dit dan in het midden?
The park and gardens were designed by landscape architect Hendrik Koppen, in close collaboration with Pierre Kuipers. Because Baron Etienne wanted to immediately enjoy a mature park, he had approximately 7,000 mature trees brought in around 1895 and planted in the developing park. The trees were transported on wooden platforms to De Haar to be replanted. Legends surround the entire process. One story goes that, at the Baron's behest, a building in the city centre of Utrecht was even purchased and demolished so that his trees could more easily negotiate the difficult bend. The park is laid out in the English landscape style, with water features, groups of trees, romantic paths, bridges, and vistas. The formal gardens surrounding the castle are said to have been inspired by the gardens of Versailles. These include a boxwood or palm garden with a berceau, laid out in 1919, a Roman garden, and a rose garden. During the Second World War, unlike the castle, the gardens fell into disrepair because the land was needed for growing vegetables and the wood was used for fuel. After the war, the gardens were restored to their former glory. In the early 21st century, a large-scale restoration of the park and gardens was undertaken, partly returning to Koppin's original designs and partly adapted to modern needs, making them less labor-intensive and suitable for hosting events.
The castle and its associated lands and rights remained in the Catholic branch of the Van Zullen van Nijvelt family. Some of this family had settled in the southern Netherlands, specifically in Bruges. The last northern Netherlands owner, the bachelor Anton Martinus van Zullen van Nijvelt, 1708–1801, appointed the mayor and member of parliament Jean-Jacques van Zullen van Nijvelt, 1752–1846, of Bruges as his legatee. Although he and his heirs maintained ties to their Dutch estate, it was not reoccupied and fell into further disrepair. By the end of the 19th century, it was nothing more than a ruin.
Reconstruction from 1892. In 1890, the Belgian Etienne Baron van Zullen van Nijvelt van de Haar, 1860–1934, inherited the castle ruins from his father, Gustave van Zullen, 1818–1890. On August 16, 1887, in Paris, Etienne married Helene Baroness de Rothschild, 1863–1947, an heiress from the French branch of the wealthy Rothschild banking family. Thanks in part to her fortune, Etienne had the means to have the ancestral castle rebuilt in a grandiose manner as a country retreat.
Vrienden en relaties uitnodigen. En het mag eraan niets ontbreken.
For the reconstruction of the castle, the Baron, likely on the advice of Victor de Stuurs, the founder of monument conservation in the Netherlands, commissioned the renowned architect Pierre Cuypers. Their intention was for it to have the style and allure of a French medieval castle. In close collaboration with his son Joseph Kuipers, he worked on this for 20 years, from 1892 to 1912. The provisional inauguration took place on July 3, 1893. The reconstruction had by then progressed to the point that flags were flying from the spires, and several rooms could be presented to the client, furnished. Throughout the building, there are references to the history of the Van Zullen family, especially in the entrance hall. Around 1911, the Châtelet was renovated. A second floor was added to part of the building to house the eldest son, Helen, who had reached adulthood. After his death in a fatal accident in 1912, his brother used this space as a workspace. Since this renovation, no major renovations have been carried out on the complex. During World War II, the family lived in exile in New York. Shortly after the liberation, a military commissariat was established in the chateau, which, among other things, arranged the return of refugees. After the war, the tradition of September residence continued. For example, Etienne and Helene's grandson, Thierry van Zullen van Nijvelt van de Haar, stayed at the castle with his family and staff every September. It was closed to the public during these months. The family did not stay in the castle itself, but in the Châtelet. This building, separate from the castle, was intended as a technical room and staff quarters during the renovation. Nevertheless, it is richly decorated in the same style as the castle. It is not open to the public, except for a one-time opening from March to May 2015, following a major restoration. In 2000, the castle and its associated buildings were transferred to the De Haar Castle Foundation. An agreement was concluded in 2001 and 2004 stipulating that the direct relatives of Thierry Baron van Zullen retain the right to exclusive residence in the castle during the month of September each year. Throughout the year, they may use the apartment in the Châtelet exclusively as a pied à terre, provided that this use may not exceed 3 consecutive weeks. The costs are to be paid by the temporary resident. In November 2012, renting the castle for the entire month of September cost €60,000. The chapel may continue to be used by these relatives for baptisms, weddings, and funerals. The right to be buried in the nearby cemetery or crypt was also retained. The 350-hectare Haar Zullens estate came into the possession of the Dutch Society for the Preservation of Nature. The Van Zullen family initially retained ownership of the furniture and art collection and loaned it to the De Haar Castle Foundation for a period of 30 years. After the death of Thierry Baron van Zullen in 2011, his 5 daughters felt that a permanent settlement was preferable. On November 7, 2012, an agreement was signed making the foundation the owner of the castle, the park, the outbuildings, and the castle's entire art collection. The collection comprises 4,000 objects, including liveries, tapestries, paintings, and silverware. Its value is estimated at over €10 million. The castle's interior is richly decorated in an eclectic style, with the majority designed in the neo-Gothic style. The limestone carvings, the predominantly oak woodwork, the painted and stenciled decorations, and the stained glass and wrought ironwork were all handcrafted in Kuipers workshops in Roermond or by specialists Kuipers had previously worked with. The interior of the central hall, with its Gothic windows, rosettes, pinnacles, and large statues, is strongly reminiscent of the interior of a Catholic church. This is not surprising, as Kuipers designed dozens of churches in the neo-Gothic style, and moreover, Etienne had specifically requested a central hall in the style cathedral style. Besides the immovable decorations in the castle and its outbuildings, Kuipers also designed a number of movable items, such as furniture, the dining table with matching chairs and trays, tables and chairs, reversible benches, a bureau, a lectern, and silver cutlery specially decorated with the family crests. The castle, its outbuildings, gates, bridges, and the park's landscaping, as well as the furnishings, can be seen together as a unique ensemble. In contrast to the uniform neo-Gothic style of the Belle Etage main floor, the private quarters and guest rooms were designed in diverse styles, according to Baron Etienne's wishes. This fit within the eclecticism then in vogue for elite residences. The diversity of styles also met the Baron's wish that his guests should feel as if they were staying in a private home, not a hotel. In the castle, one sees only a few references to the Rothschild family's Jewish origins, including the Stars of David on the beams of the Knights' Hall and the family crest, the hand with the 5 arrows above the door between the Knights' Hall and the library. References to the Van de Haar and Van Zullen families are far more numerous. Coats of arms and alliance crests are found throughout the interior. The small column, Van Zullen, or the diamond shape, Van de Haar, frequently appear in the decorative motifs. The mottos of the Van Zullen and Van de Haar families are displayed on the mantelpiece in the Knights' Hall, a major ibis et virtut and non titubans, which translates as in greatness and virtue, not hesitating. The richly decorated rooms also feature a diverse collection of art objects, antique Chinese and Japanese pottery, 3 top-quality 16th-century tapestries, a 17th-century tapestry depicting a folk scene based on a cartoon by David Teniers, and various paintings and panels with religious images. A remarkable piece in the Netherlands is a sedan chair from the court of one of the last shoguns of Japan. Many Japanese tourists come to De Haar to view this sedan chair and the Imari porcelain. When the Baron and Baroness visited the ruins in 1891, they found a village in the immediate vicinity of the castle, the Old Haarzuilens. On the site of the current Roman garden, south of the castle, stood a village green with a village pump. There were several houses, an inn, and farms. Several other farms were also scattered around. The village of Haarzuilens had to make way for the park and gardens surrounding the castle. With great difficulty, the Baron found all the owners willing to sell their houses and land. He built new houses for them a kilometer to the east. A little further on, it was rebuilt in the style of the castle. Thus arose the new Haarzuilens, with 3 catering licenses, a town hall, a village green, and other amenities, where the residents lived as tenants of the lord of the castle. Later, part of the land became the property of Natuurmonumenten, Dutch Society for Nature Conservation,